Alrighty, let's see. Welcome everybody. We are super excited you are here today for our WeVideo interactivity training. We're excited that you are here to learn more about why you would choose interactive video, and we are going to go ahead and jump right in. My name is Taylor Ripley, and I'm an education specialist with an instructional design background on the WeVideo customer success team, with a passion for helping teachers and students discover their creative spark. I'm an alumni of the Teach for America program. I worked in a school setting for 6 years where I was an instructor, instructional coach, and now I most recently have gained my instructional design certification from the OLC, and I'm super excited to be here with you today to let you know why interactive video is so powerful and how you can implement this into your instruction. Our agenda for today is we're going to discuss the benefits of using interactive video, build an interactive video lesson, and learn how to publish this and ensure this lesson is deployed to learners. So WeVideo now offers 3 different tools. We have our video editor, our screencasting tool, and most recently, our interactivity tool. We're going to watch a short intro video that's going to introduce what interactivity is and how we're going to dive deeper into this today.
Time with auto grading and templates. Create playlists of interactive videos around a common theme or lesson. Instructors can also use playlists for professional development with the option for users to print fully customizable certificates. Interactivity also provides teachers with a seamless workflow to sync class rosters and easily use tags to quickly organize and find specific assignments. With interactivity, students can learn at their own pace, benefit from instant feedback, and review materials as needed, making video instruction 3 times as effective.
Alrighty, so that is a short video that shows us a little bit more into that interactivity, which we're going to dive deeper into today. I am seeing in the chat that we are not being able to see the video. Thank you for your patience. I think we got it up and running now. So sorry about that. Just a couple technical difficulties there. We are going to talk about what a bulb is. A bulb is when you create and add your video into WeVideo interactivity, the instructional design studio will take your video and allow you to add engagement and a variety of question types to your video lesson. Bulbs can be deployed as asynchronous self-paced objects. So that means that your student will be able to work through it at their own pace with the engagements, stopping where the engagements are that you add in as the instructor and designer. Take multiple bulbs and combine them to create a playlist. And you can even create assignments where learners will submit video content to create their own bulbs. The beauty of a bulb is that it illuminates the learning process. Teachers will receive all of the analytics from the content, and learners will know exactly what they know or don't know in live time, like a light bulb is going off in their head. So the workflow that is going through here is going to be you will take a video. So you have your own instructional content with the WeVideo screencast tool or creating the video in WeVideo. You can also use an import from Vimeo or YouTube. When you enter into our instructional design studio, you will see 6 question types. There are 4 auto-graded, multiple choice, check all, fill in the blank, and poll interactions. 2 are manually graded, meaning the instructor will have to go into interactivity and grade the submission. Under the question types, you will see 2 annotations, which are non-graded, pause and web embed, as well as one that we've recently added, which is our PDF interaction. Adding interactivity to achieve learning outcomes and generate assessment data, which allows you to personalize and differentiate your learning. We are working on getting those slides up. I apologize. Just give us 1 second to work through that. Alrighty, if you please let us know, that would be amazing. Alrighty, thank you so much for your patience. We're sorry about those technical difficulties. We get them just as much as you all do sometimes as well. So looking at this, looking at this graph here, why interactive video? So working in a school and now shifting into my role at WeVideo, interactivity provides a lot of value to your lessons, as well as incorporating different ways to incorporate great skills and other things that are important when working in an online environment. So this graph that I created shows some of the benefits of using interactive video and why I really value it for lessons that I create. So it allows me to provide academic feedback in an online setting. It helps me maximize instructional time. Allows me to create situations where my students are asynchronously collaborating. I can see in depth data and analytics that help drive my instruction, as well as build digital literacy skills that help my students then to become more successful when using technical tools and taking technical assignments as well. So these are five main reasons why I love using interactive video, and I'm going to show you some different use cases today that are going to highlight these five different things. Alrighty, so when we think about the foundational benefits of interactive video, there are a few things that I would like to highlight. One of these includes the ability to hold your learners accountable. So our platform, WeVideo Interactivity, has many opportunities for you to make sure that students are taking full advantage of the learning opportunity that they have. Um, some of these benefits include disabling fast forwarding or skipping. We take accessibility very seriously, so you're able to include interactive transcripts that are searchable and viewable in two ways. And lastly, the embedded and exportable notepad can allow for better content digestion. This feature can be monitored by the instructor to be able to gauge their learners' learning process. So I'm going to show you a couple of use cases that are going to show you how easy it will be to implement interactivity into your lessons and your plans that you've already been using. These are really easy ways that will actually, in the long run, give you your time back as a teacher. So the homework problem bulb or the independent work set bulb is our first low lift use case. To create this bulb, you can create a video that you would like to use to highlight the homework or independent work set that you would like your students to engage with. You'll then see that you're able to add in PDFs, documents, images, or even add in links into a pause interaction using our rich text editor. In this use case, they embed a PDF worksheet that they would traditionally have sent home with students or given to them in class. You'll see there that students can click on that to download it, and then they'll just fill in the answers here with fill in the blank interactions. What's great about this is that they'll receive that generated feedback automatically, and you will receive that auto-graded data in Quick Bulb Analytics with a breakdown of each question from the lesson before even students come to class the next day. So you're able to adjust and drive instruction accordingly. All right, the next low lift use case I'm going to highlight is an interactive video lecture, which is a mini lesson with self-check interactions. The first engagement you see is a pause interaction. This frames learning. You can include the directions, objectives, and any needed background information. which is really great because we know it's important to let students inform students on what they're going to learn and what they're going to accomplish by the end of that lesson, even if it's in a virtual setting. As we continue through this bulb, we can see a pause interaction on the sidebar. You can add in key terms and things to adjust how long those will stay on the screen. You'll also see a pause interaction that will orient students to the notes functionality. Every video that you put into interactivity will give access to the students to take notes. These timestamp notes will not only be able to be downloaded by the student, you will be able to go in as the instructor and see where students have taken notes throughout the bulb. As we continue through, there's content checkpoints. They've utilized multiple choice interactions to supply auto-generated feedback to the learner to help them know if they're correct or incorrect in live time. For the second content checkpoint, they're utilizing a free response question. Learners will have access to that rich text editor to add in their responses. Although this is a manually graded interaction, you can still add feedback in multiple attempts to give the student a reminder of what they need to include in that. And lastly, you can utilize fill in the blanks, like this third content checkpoint here. And you can put a word bank at the top, or you can opt to just have the blanks on their own. You'll be able to set up multiple different answer choices for those blanks. And then this will also auto generate with that feedback so students know if they're right or wrong in live time. And then at the end, you can even opt to have students be able to view their printable report. This is a great for mastery-based learning. It allows students to go back and review their work. It includes the questions, answers, any feedback that the teacher has opted to put in there, as well as any timestamp notes you can get at the bottom here as well. You can print that, or you can grab the link and send it to whoever you need it to go to. This use case is going to highlight an ELA discussion. You can see that they have framed the lecture with a pause at the beginning, telling the learners about the objective, directions, background information, even including an image of the speaker. You can utilize a video that reads or the text. You can utilize the rich text editor to record your own audio. Then you can add a discussion interaction. The discussion interaction allows students to collaborate asynchronously. It's pre-made, so all you do need to decide is if you want to apply participation points or manually score based on the quality of the contribution. Things you won't have to touch is learners will always have access to that notes functionality where they can export and view captions throughout the lesson if preferred. What's great about the sidebar is that you can leave the video content up while the student then is engaging with that question. And then as we go to the end, you can see what the discussion interaction will look like. If you're assigning a video to learners, it would just make sense to put it into WeVideo interactivity because even if you're not adding engagement, learners can take notes that can be monitored by the instructor, and the instructor can see how long the learner spent watching the video. Throughout this discussion, learners can add in their post. Instructors have the ability to adjust advanced settings, which will prohibit learners from seeing other posts until they contribute on their own. Instructors also have the ability to reply to students and delete comments if necessary. The instructor can download the discussion to print if needed as well. And then the last case we're going to highlight today is a test prep bulb. When I was a teacher, I know how important it is to have students practice on their device with question types and format that looks similar to a standardized test or another platform that they're going to be using within that within the computer setting. So this example is going to show you something that I created that I would have used with my students to get them prepared for that and build their digital literacy. So you can implement directions and add in those images. You can see that the questions are going to increase in rigor based on their correct or incorrect answers. I've added in speakers for accessibility and for younger learners so that this mimics what it would look like on the actual test. And once they get that answer correct, it's jumping them to a more rigorous question. So this is a great platform because we do have such a variety of interactions that you can embed. We make sure that you're able to reach the rigor of any student as well as creating differentiation even within one class as well. So I talked a lot about beginning about how important it is to have data and analytics and why I think this is so important for interactive video. So I think it's important to highlight this portion of it before we actually dive into the designer today. So once you create a bulb, you're able to see a variety of analytics that are going to help you drive your instruction. One of the things that really was difficult for me when I worked in a classroom was the fact that I wanted to know exactly where my students were at, and I didn't have time to constantly collect data and grade every single thing that I've given to my students. So, what I love about interactivity is I get those analytics right away. And I also am able to take the information and the graphs that are given to me to drive my instruction, reteach, and make sure that my students are grasping all of the concepts we're going through. So you'll see here, this is called our monitor page. The first thing you'll see is you're going to see all of the learners in your class name here. You're going to be able to see their score on that particular assignment, and you're going to see their status. So you have how long it took them to complete it, if they have not started, or if they're in progress and how long they've been in progress for. Up here in the right-hand corner, you're going to see that filter button. This allows you to filter by the status. So if you want to filter by everyone who's completed, you can do that, in progress or not started as well. As we move through here, each of these gray boxes at the top are going to signify an interaction that you have embedded within that video. So when you go through, you're able to click on an individual interaction. So you'll see that green is correct, red is incorrect for auto-graded interactions. You can click on the colored box to look in deeper into the analytics for that particular student. And you'll be able to see that they have how long they engaged with that particular interaction, as well as their points and what answer they selected here. For manually graded interactions, like a free response, you'll see the yellow pen for a response that still needs to be graded. And when you click in there, you're able to engage with that and leave feedback if you'd like to. Another thing that's really great is that if you have a large class of manually graded interactions, you can click this gray pen at the top and press grade all. Clicking on the learner name will also give you more specific data as well. You can view the learner attempt to just look at one individual's and one individual learner's answers all at once. And you can click export learner attempt to download that exportable worksheet that we talked about earlier. So even if you don't opt for your students to have access to that, you as the instructor will always have access to download that. And in the right-hand corner over here, you'll see the little cloud icon. Anywhere that you see this cloud icon in the platform, you'll be able to do a CSV download of the data where you're able to get an export of the data from that particular bulb or the area of the platform that you're in at that time. In the left-hand corner of the monitor page, you're going to see the bulb analytics button. This is going to give you a quick breakdown of each question, the average score, and bulb completed status. So when you look here, something that I find very valuable is, if I give out an independent problem set or a homework problem set, and I want to make sure that my students know that concept before they come into class the next day, before we start the next lesson, I might look and say, number 4, that looks like my students were struggling with that concept. I'm going to review that before I move on to the lesson. So that is really great for that quick analytics. And also getting those grades quickly will help you save instructional time and maximize the time you have in front of your students as well. And with the average bulb score, this helps me as a teacher to recognize um, if there is a particular bulb where all of the scores aren't reflecting what I thought I taught, I can then shift my practice as well and self-reflect on what maybe I need to change for next time. Alrighty. So we're going to use the rest of our time together to go in and start building a bulb, as well as learning how to assign it out. So we're not going to get to go through all of the features today, but we're going to hit some big ones that I think will be helpful to you in the long run. And then we also have this menu here that's going to take you through each portion that we're going to go through today. So even if you are wondering about something that we don't go through, we will send these slides out with a follow-up, and you're able to then click on any category here, and it will take you to a short GIF video that will go through the steps that we're going to do together today live. Alrighty, so we're going to jump right in. I'm going to orient to my interactivity profile, and I urge you all to do the same so you can practice alongside me. Alrighty, once you are in your account, you're going to see that you have this button in the corner that says Next Gen. And you're going to drop down to your interactivity tab here. Once you click on interactivity, you will see that you have your bulbs, classes, and playlists here on the left-hand side. And we are in that bulbs category first, and you'll see all of the bulbs that you've previously created. When you move down to your classes tab, this is where you'll be able to create a new class in interactivity. So I can press add new class and add in the title of the class that I'd like to create. Something that's important to note that even when you create this class, your learners are not going to show in here until they've taken their first bulb. So even though it says learners and you have your grade book, once you assign your first bulb to this class, then those learners are going to show up in that area. Coming back to your bulbs library here, we're going to press create new bulb. When you select this, you'll see that you have a few different options for creating or for pulling in videos. You can always bring in a video from WeVideo that you have created, but you also are able to pull YouTube videos and Vimeo and videos from Vimeo, that's a tongue twister, as well, to bring in for your video. Today, I'm going to practice with a YouTube video. So when I select this, you can search YouTube here, or if you have a link previously picked out, you can copy and paste that into the search bar and your video will come up. So I'll give everyone a second to pull a video they'd like to practice with. Alrighty, and once you have done that, you can press this white button that says customize. This is where it will allow you to bring in your caption files. You can either view available YouTube captions if you've picked a YouTube video, and this will generate captions from YouTube that they've are available to you. So we have our English here if I wanted to download those. You also can upload your own VTT or SRT caption files by clicking here. Once you've selected the captions that you'd like to have in there, you're able to go to the trim and crop feature. This will allow you to take off the beginning of your video by clicking or dragging this green pin, or you can take off the end by dragging this red pin as well. And then under advanced, you can actually do internal crops of that video if you'd like to. And once you have that set how you'd like it, you'll just press the done button. Something that's important to know is that you are able to add multiple videos into one singular bulb. So the way you would do that is once you've uploaded your video, you can select this add video button and you would repeat that same process again. Once you have brought your video in, there are two different ways that you can add interactions into your video. You can apply a template, which is great if you need an easy way to apply. If you want an easy and quick way to apply interactions, but you don't want them to be specific. So when you go through here, I urge you to look through these on your own, but there's a variety of templates available to you. And this will put in some general groups of interactions, and then you can go back in and edit them with your own content. Once the other way that you can enter in interactions is individually. So that's what we're going to do together today. And I'm going to show you some little nuances and different ways that each interaction can be utilized in your content. So when we go over to interactions here, you'll see that there are no interactions in my video yet. But I'm going to move my white dot here on the bottom. This is my scrub bar to the timestamp that I'd like my first interaction to go in. So I'm going to keep mine at the very beginning, and I'm going to press add an interaction on this blue teal button in the middle at the bottom. And once I have selected that, I'm going to show you a pause interaction. Pause interactions are one of my favorite interactions, but are often underutilized. There's a lot you can do with them, but one thing that I like to do with all of my bulbs is use the pause to create directions, objectives, and give my learners an outline of what they're about to learn. So once I press the enter text here, you'll see this bar come up. This is what we call our rich text editor. This expands your capabilities of what you can do with interactions. So I'm going to go through what each little feature is. You can add jumps, attach files, add in your own audio, insert images, reactions, equations. You have a number of formatting tools that probably look familiar to you already, including special characters. And then when I click on these three dots, I can see an insert button where I can add in a link or source code. I can format further with headers, alignment, and I also have the ability to add in a table and adjust table properties here as well. So lots of cool things you can do with the rich text editor. Something else that's really great about the pause interaction is, or any interaction for that matter, is you can actually copy and paste text in. So thinking about a lesson plan that you already have or an assessment you already have on your computer, you can copy and paste that directly into the designer. So I'm going to copy and paste my text in and then quickly adjust how I'd like that to look with my formatting tools. And then I can add in my link here about Derek Sievers so my students know what they're about to, the person that they're about to hear from. So I can press the link, put my link in here, press OK. And I can even bold and italicize things that are important so that they don't skip over them. Once you've entered your text in, you'll see this advanced button for each interaction type. Each of the advanced features for the individual interactions will look different, but I urge you to explore these a little more. So right now I have that this interaction is required, and then it pauses the video from playing back when it pops up on the screen. Once you have your text in your pause interaction and you've checked those advanced settings to make sure they're exactly how you want them, you're then able to customize further. So we just did this number 1, and we're going to move from left to right to go to the placement. Once you're in that placement tab, you'll see that each interaction is going to default to the sidebar. So this is something that if you never want to touch this, you don't have to. I know it is, technical tools can sometimes feel like a lot, but know that this can be as easy or as complicated as you want it to be. And at first, you can make it as simple as you want. And then as you learn the platform, you can then go into these more advanced features that will help you customize further. So I'll show you that you can change the placement of the interaction. So I like to overlay this over the screen. And what's great about putting it over that video content is then I'll then see a preview of what this is going to look like when it's deployed to learners. So I can adjust however I like it. Like I can toggle my mouse over this area. And then once I've decided on a placement, I can press advanced here. I can make this expandable, collapsible, even utilize dark mode and adjust the opacity. And once I have that set, I can go over to my number 3, which is my timing tab. And I can adjust further. I can move this pin to change where the interaction will deploy. I can also click this advanced button if I would like to add a duration, which means that this will stay on the screen for more than just that one timestamp. So an example might be earlier when we looked at key terms. If I want the key terms to stay in the sidebar for the entirety of the video so my students can access them, I may add a duration. So you'll see the start time, and then you can add the end time as well. And then that red pin will show up, and you can drag it to how long you would like it to be on the screen. But for this particular interaction, I'm just going to keep it at that single timestamp, but just know that that is an option that lives right there for you. Once I have those three different buckets set up, I can press done. Once I've entered that in, you'll see that this has now added to my interaction library here. Some different things that are available is when you click on these three dots here, you'll see that you have the ability to duplicate, add interactions before or after, and even save in a certain interaction as a template, which will allow you to then go back and access it again in a different bulb. The other interaction that I really want to show you is a check all interaction. So I can pull this scrub bar here at the bottom to exactly where I want that interaction to go. And I can add an interaction by clicking this button here. When I come in here, I will see that I have multiple different options for different question types. That check all interaction is going to live right here. So I'll click that. Check all interactions function very similar to a multiple choice or a poll. The main difference between the three is a check all will allow you to have more than one correct answer. A multiple choice is one correct answer, and a poll interaction, there is no right or wrong. It's just a survey question for you. So, same thing as a pause interaction, you can enter in your text here. Same thing, you are able to copy and paste if you need to. And that is really great, especially if you have a curriculum you're using or a prior lesson. So I'm going to go ahead and enter in mine. And then once I've entered in my answer choices, I can also add additional answer choices by selecting this add answer option button here. My advanced settings are also here at that bottom part. And once I have my question and my answer options in there, I'll use these boxes on the left-hand side to signify which answers are the correct answers. Now that this is a question type and not an annotation, we can go one step further with creating this experience for our learners. And the way we can do that is that academic feedback that I referenced earlier. This is one of my favorite parts of our platform, and I think is one of the most beneficial ways that you can make sure that students are getting what they need when it comes to academic feedback in an online setting. There's numbers of studies that have been done that academic feedback enhances student outcomes and also builds confidence for students because they know exactly where they're at. So when I want to add feedback, I can add it for a correct answer or an incorrect answer, which is really great, which helps with differentiation if you ever need to add anything specific in. But for this example today, I'm going to add it for my incorrect answer. So I'll come to my incorrect answer and select the cogwheel here, and I'll see that I have a button that says add feedback. Once I select that, I'll see that I have a text bar that comes up, and I still have access to that rich text editor. So anywhere in the designer you have text, you'll be able to add in these personalizations as well. I'm going to enter in the text that I want my student to see if they select this answer choice. So with that being said, because it's incorrect, I'm going to state that it's not correct. And then put the quote where it tells the learner about the correct answer from the video. Answer highlighting is going to default to green and red if it's answered correctly or incorrectly. And you can adjust those settings under the advanced button here. So if you don't want that highlighting to show or you want multiple attempts, you can signify how many attempts you'd like and as well as when that feedback will deploy. Something else that I love about the feedback feature is that you can use that rich text editor to add in attachments, audio. You can add links. So if you want your students to have any other resources, if they got it correct or incorrect, you can add in those supplementary resources easily using that feedback tool. And just like with our pause interaction or our timing tool, or just like with our pause interaction, you can adjust the placement and the timing as well by this number 2 and number 3. So once you have everything set how you want it, you'll press done. And that will be added into your interaction library. One thing that's different with a graded interaction is that you have the ability to add a point value. So when I click on these 3 dots, you'll see that I have a scrub bar where I can adjust how many points I'd like this question to be worth. So I can adjust that here. Once you have added in all of the interactions that you'd like, the last thing you want to do is come to this review tab. This is where you can adjust the type of your bulb. You can add a learning objective. You can use tags for internal organization. And those tags are important because they'll allow you to have internal content organization. So if you are in your organization and you all have a lot of content and you want to be able to search for it, you can use those tags to search. So that's really helpful. But the most important part of building a bulb is going to be under this playback options. The reason this is so important is it will be settings that apply to the entirety of your bulb. So you can allow learners to rewind, allow learners to skip interactions, fast forward, allow learners to retake the bulb upon bulb completion. So you can set this and also set the number of retakes you would like. A value of 0 means that the bulb can be retaken indefinitely. And then if you select retaking the bulb, you can also mark the bulb complete or you can mark with a minimum completion score, which will allow students to have to reach a certain score or they'll be prompted to retake that bulb. So I just set mine to 80% mastery. If the student were not to get to 80%, they then would be prompted to retake the bulb upon completion. Something that's important to note with that minimum completion score is you only want to use that if you have auto-graded interactions. If you have manually graded interactions within your bulb, it will not function properly. Another great one is this printable report that we've talked about a few times during the training. This will allow students to download those questions, answers, feedback, any notes they took as well. And the last one that I really like to highlight is this high learner score upon bulb completion. This is great for assessment purposes. It helps to uphold that academic integrity so students cannot share their correct or incorrect answers with other students. And then lastly, we have our privacy settings. This is where you can make your bulb private, public, or only available to members of your school site. Once you finish those settings, you can press Save Changes, and then you have the ability to preview that here. Once you press Save and Exit, you'll be able to assign this bulb to your learners. So I can come to my bulb and click on these 3 dots. I'll press Assign here. And I'll see that I have some different things that I get to decide. So I can assign to students. I'll put the start date for my bulb and I can put the end date if I'd like to. And then I also can select the class I'd like to assign it to. And once I press the assign button in that right-hand corner, I'll be able to share this link to give to my students. Once my student accesses this link, they'll be prompted to log into their WeVideo account, click on interactivity, and then they'll be able to start their assignment. Alrighty, lots of great information today. Wanted to open it up in the chat if there's any questions. But if not, thank you so much for coming, and we really appreciate you wanting to learn more about WeVideo interactivity.